Hey friends, in this video we are going to talk about rendering lard at home, how to do it, and how to make sure your lard lasts for the longest time possible. So here I think I have my leaf lard. I say I think because I think it's leaf lard. The leaf lard is what's in the belly with the intestines and stuff. That is your leaf lard. It's considered best for pie crusts, some of your more delicate baking. I love my lard for anything. I've used it interchangeably with butter, unless you're looking for like a buttery taste, in which case I would use butter. But for the most part, in something like pie crust, you won't find a flakier pie crust when using leaf lard for that. So I love this stuff. This is very precious. We raise our pigs on pasture. We raise them on non-GMO feed. So this fat is not going to go to waste on this homestead. So to get it rendering, all I'm going to do is I'm going to start kind of cutting it into small pieces. The smaller, the faster it'll render. But at the same time, you don't want to spend your whole day cutting it either. So just quick slices, and we'll get it in a pot on low heat to get the process started.
Hey, future Rosie here. The whole time I was rendering this lard, I was also juggling my two littles being sick. In hindsight, as I'm editing, I noticed some things I did, not necessarily wrong, but things I would do differently next time. So let's go over that real quick. First, I would keep the leaf lard completely separate when processing the hog, including rendering the leaf lard completely separate. Secondly, there are different renderings you can get off of the Cracklings, and the first rendering will yield a snow white colored lard that's best for pie making and etc. I did not do that. I was more interested in getting the lard processed than worrying about different renderings. The concern with doing this is that it produces stronger flavor in the lard, and I'll talk more about that later on. My final yield of lard, it's a nice off-white, kind of tinged color, and I'm okay with that.
So here you can see I've kind of got the bottom of my pan covered. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the stove and turn on the heat. I wanted to show you this. This is a gland within the fat, and you do not want this when you are rendering it. So something I do is when I come across them, I just cut them out. I might take a little more of the fat off of this so there's not as much waste. But yeah, whenever you come across a gland, you want to cut that sucker out. Okay, so it started to render, and I wanted to show you what it looks like. I find visuals very helpful when I'm trying to learn a new skill. These bubbles are moisture that is evaporating from the hot lard. So we will know this lard is done when there is no more bubbles. So obviously there's plenty of space in this pot. I could continue adding to it. I don't think I will right now, but obviously I have bags of lard in my freezer that will be processed eventually.
Good morning. So it's been a long few weeks here. We got some kind of sickness and illness. So I am wrapping up the lard this morning, and I wanted to show you what it looks like when it's done. So we have removed most of the cracklings at this point, and we boil it until there is no bubbles. You see that? It's just clear. That's what you want. So no bubbles. And what we're going to do, this is my little setup here. We're going to strain through any remaining cracklings, fill the jars hot. I've heated my lard up to about 130, 140 degrees, just hot enough that it'll pull the lids down and give us a seal so it's airtight. Something I just want to mention before I forget is that my preferred jars to use for lard are not necessarily canning jars. Canning jars can work, but I prefer wide mouth jars because I can get my hand in there and clean it more effectively. So as you can see, I'm just reusing this sauerkraut jar. We've used wide mouth quart jars. We use hodgepodge leftover jars as long as they have a wide mouth. And they typically have like a lid like this, and it'll vacuum seal, pop it down. So it's good to go for long-term storage. We don't do anything fancy to remove the cracklings. I have a stainless steel colander, and we literally just kind of were scooping it out. So something to keep in mind is, unlike other shelf-stable oils that are good for quite a long time, like your canola oil, vegetable oil. Lard can and will go rancid. So one of the reasons we want our jars to seal is because it creates that vacuum effect and removes all the oxygen. I am processing so much lard. There's no way I could possibly fit it all in the fridge. But something my mother-in-law has done is keep her lard in the freezer. Right now, the way we kind of store our lard is if the jar won't seal, it goes in our downstairs fridge. And in the event it does seal, it just goes in our root cellar, or larder as we like to refer to it. And it stays, this time of year, stays between 40 and 50 degrees. It's very chilly down there. And typically we try to have it all used up within a year. I like to use my lard to replace just about anything. Why? Because I helped we raised this meat on our land. I know exactly what went into the animal. Now, someone asked, like, how about the taste? And just like anything, if you think about it, everything actually has a taste to it. Butter has a taste, lard has a taste. So I don't find the taste to be a turnoff. It might depend on what you're making. If you're making something where the taste is going to be more pronounced, you may not like it. It's important to us to get away from so much of the GMOs and the chemical-laden rancid seed oils on the shelf. And what better way to replace it than by using the fat that you helped raise on your own land? It's really versatile and really endless, and it'll end up saving you so much money, especially like in our case, we butchered our own animal. So instead of the butcher keeping all that fat, we get to keep all our own fat and render it and turn it into this product we're going to use in our kitchen. And it's just another way to continue like stretching that dollar of what we put into the animal and making it work for us. So someone asked me if we eat cracklings, and the answer is not really. This can be a great treat for your chickens or for your dog. Very greasy. You have to remember this is fat.
Thanks for watching. We ended up with around 27 quarts of lard. After being out of it for a month or so, I'm happy to have my shelves restocked. Comment below if you've ever made lard, and we'll see you next week.